All right, I'm back again. So fucking annoying. It reminded me of the Facebook streaming days. Whatever is going on, and pardon me, there's some internet stuff going on in my area. I just looked it up. There is, in fact, work planned for my area today. So if this happens again, guys, I'm just gonna come back tomorrow at 4:20, same time. Welcome, by the way, we're gonna restart again, episode 39. Welcome. My name is Tyler, and welcome to the Amp Sim show on the Amp Sim Universe channel. And gosh, guys, I am excited to be here today, showcasing the presets, finally the presets. And the presets are something that NAMU Universal, by the way, because I deleted the stream the other day, as mentioned, due to some aforementioned negativity. As mentioned, one more time for those of you that were not in the just brief 11 minutes that we just... If you're reviewing something, be honest with the developer and polite. Be professional, honest, polite. Be straight up with them, and they won't care that you don't like something. They will appreciate you being straight up and honest. Don't worry about ending the gravy train. And in the case that you do have something bad to say about a plugin that you don't support, have some ethics. Have some ethics, have some balls. Have some balls to just say what you got to say about the plugin and move along with your day. It is what it is. Other people have people been blacklisted? Somebody asked me this before. Has anybody ever been blacklisted for a bad review? No one's ever been blacklisted. The only thing I can think of that really happened due to a bad review was Stay Metal Ray took on the almighty Joey Sturgis on YouTube and there was some shit, and go look it up. He didn't like a plugin, and as tends to happen, Joey doesn't typically like when people speak about the negative sides of his plugins. It's just the part of the game, though. There are ups and downs to everything. Now, let's get to some of the downsides of NAMU Universal, according to the masses. And this is, I think, the guys. Hey, what's going on, Nils? How are you? Pedro, how are you as well? Guys, if you have a negative or a downside to this plugin, now is the time to be heard. Realistic downside. I will tell you some of the things we are going to fix and some of the things we are going to add. There are going to be two versions of NAMU Universal. So V2 is going to be significantly different, but we are not going to replace one with the other. We realize that there are some people out there that really like just the way it is on one panel. The next one, all I can tell you about it is it does have a significant amount of additions, and it's going to have 50 panels. Now on this one, a few of the things that I think were one of the main problems people mentioned was that there were no presets. And again, I'm just going to explain this quickly. We were tinkering until very last minute, and finally when it was ready to come out, we were quite behind the schedule we kind of set out for ourselves. So we're like, you know what, let's just get it out there and get the presets up later. Being that this is one of the things I've been doing in the amp sim industry for almost 15 years now, is creating presets. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I love doing it. I've done it for so many developers, paid and as a volunteer, and man, I love doing it. So I created 300 presets for NAMU Universal that range from clean bass, driven bass, all sorts of things that we're going to kind of go over. I'm going to start with just heavy rhythm. Now, my inspiration for the heavy rhythm section was hard rock, maybe a little bit of modern thrash, maybe a little bit of American hard rock like your Godsmacks or your Nickel. No, well, that's Canadian, but you get it. It's in that yeah. You know the style I'm talking about. You know exactly the style I'm talking about. That's that kind of hard rock, American hard rock. Those bands are ridiculous. I guess Creed's making a big comeback, and musically, I love Creed. The singer, though, I'm sorry, Scott Stapp's voice is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Then again, I love Lane Staley, and he was also an absolute yarling machine. So, whatever it is. All right, so that was my basic inspiration for the presets for heavy rhythm was to be a general heavy rhythm. Could be used for little bits of everything, modern, vintage, whatever. So that's what we're going after here. Interesting. What we got going here? Very interesting. Okay, so there's only one. Okay, so there's definitely a short in somewhere in this switch. We're gonna get this turned up a whole bunch. So, okay, so what I used here is, this is a Maxon 808X, OD808, no, let's call it the 808X. I have not used the instigator. By the way, we're going to be changing some of the little small things in V1 as well. There's going to be a V2 is going to be an entire new beast on its own. But V2 will be able to play your V1 presets. V1 will not be able to play V2 presets. Okay, just giving you guys some heads up. Now, the instigator was a cheeky name. Instigator is someone who starts something, starts a bit of a fight. Started furiously, started calmly, started with a bit of a sucker punch. However you see it, that's the kind of thing an instigator does. Okay, that's what it's doing here. Is it's instigating the signal before it hits the. Bit of a cheeky thing, but a lot of people kind of were like, I don't get it. What's going on with this instigator thing? What does it do? So we're going to name it what it actually is. Tone stack. Are you happy? Okay, fine. We're going to call it the tone stack. So that is exactly what it is. It is like a Mesa type tone stack, modified. And so that's what we're going to be renaming that. The aggravator is something that generally, you know, somebody that kind of gets something that's already going even further going, which is exactly what this fella does right here. Unfortunately, that was another sign of a little confusion, so we're going to rename it simply the Shaper or simply Shaper, just to make it very simple. As you guys are aware, Comp was renamed Tight because that was also a bit of a sign of confusion. The new V2 is going to have an onboard compressor as well. Just giving you guys some small details. I'm not going into great depth about what we're going to do just because I don't want someone else to be like, that sounds like a good idea. It's happened. It's happened. So in this case, going back to it, what I've done here is I've used the 808X. I'm using a quick rod from Tim R. That is a Splon quick rod. It's kind of a modified Marshall type of a scenario. And then I'm using an Angle 412 cabinet, which is from Dr. Bonkers. That sounds lovely. And I'm going to be using a couple different guitars tonight to go over presets. This one I'm going to be using to go over some of the doomier ones and it's just basic ideas. Both of the guitars I'm going to be using today are going to be rather not drop tuned, I guess. It could still need technically drop tuning only means, I think when you're describing a drop tuning. Doesn't that just mean you're dropping the one string? We'll call it B standard. I don't like when people call B standard drop B because it's not technically drop B unless you're, you know what I mean. All right. So in this particular guitar, this is a, as I'm going to touch this pickup up just a pinch. This pickup is a Bill Lawrence USA L500XL. As being well known. Oh, sorry. As being well known for being used by guys like Dimebag, Kurt Winstein, and a number of other players that used those pickups. And they're still around, guys, and it's a very nice pickup. It does high gain, it does southern rock, it does little bits of everything. And then you got kind of a bit of a kind of, it not, we'll call it on the trebly side, we'll call it. So be careful. In this case, I'm going to roll back the treble a tiny little bit. That sounds pretty good. All right, so what I've done here is heavy rhythm is going to be catered to. Actually, you know, one thing that I will say that we do need is a way to spin through presets a bit quicker as opposed to hitting the drop down menu every time. Back and forward on the presets will be nice. I believe that's already been discussed though. So that's another thing that's changing. Maybe Ed's in here. Ed, can you talk about, or you or Bo, or really Seuss as well, you guys talk about the upgrades that we're going to be putting out fairly soon for V1. If you guys could in the comments, that'd be great. And what I'm going to be doing for this one is going over the presets. That's going to come along with the update for V1. Another one, there's going to be a couple of other small things added to this version. Then we're building V2, which is a completely different animal. Now, the reason that this V2 is not going to completely replace V1 is because V1 is more for people that, I think, I'm not more for anything really. It's essentially that we know that there are a lot of people that prefer the single panel design and then just add the other things themselves. Like necessarily, like a lot of people want onboard post effects. These will be coming in such a certain way that I can't really describe to you at this point. But in this case, if I want a good lead sound, I'm going to go over to Shred. For example, we'll go to Shred 10. And then I'm just going to turn on this here delay pedal. Yep, there it is. And let's see what we get. Now, for people that work in a DAW, it's absolutely no stress whatsoever to go and build a signal chain that involves this free boy right here. This is absolutely free. This is the log rack delay from Nembrini Audio. It's 100% free. You can go get it right now. Right now. I don't know why I need to give you that, but that just happens anyways. So this is a pretty average delay setting. I'm going to use this and go over a couple of the lead tones that I've kind of thrown together here. This is Shred. We're going to Shred 20. This is Shred 20. That's another thing. I'm going to have to kind of mess with the volume a little bit here as we go. Or should I? Now, you know what? It's going to have to go unusually loud with that instead. Still not enough juice. Sounds pretty decent. I swore to a friend of mine that I would start playing more leads here. You're going to hear some bad notes once in a while, but I got to get used to doing it. I actually can play a little bit of lead guitar. I just get so rigid in what I'm playing on lead guitar because I don't want to hit that bad note. It's different when you're playing a live set and you hit the little bad note here and there than when you're doing a product showcase, though. I don't know about that. I mean, there's no developer on the sun that wants to go and watch a piece of content with their new creation and hear bad notes. I would prefer just to kind of try to upkeep my playing a little bit longer first, but we'll see what happens. Anyhow, these lead tones all to me pretty good. Now, if you could shred, which I cannot, obviously, this would sound pretty good. Nice sustain there. Decent. How's it going, Freyskin? Freyskin, I actually just remembered the other day that I owe you a plugin from the NAM Universal release. Please email me again. Just let me know. I also owe you some DIs. So I got to get you some DIs. I actually have some really nice DIs made up already, but I did put some together for you. So I'll just have to send them over. That's all. It doesn't sound too bad. Well, hear that nice cut up top. It's a really nice cut. And then what we've done here with these presets is essentially really tried to make sure that everything cuts really well while also backing up on the low end a little bit for you in advance, I guess. Although that's easy to fix by just double tapping on the setting in question and just take it right back to normal. Now you'll notice that in some of these I'm using the tone stack and some I'm not. It's really going to depend on the particular profile, but these vintage dirties, I'm using it. And not exactly the guitar I want to go over the vintage dirty tone, but so I'm going to be doing that pretty much for every preset for now. Sounds pretty good, and that's not bad. That's not bad at all, if you ask me. A little out of tune. So I also put together a whole bunch of Doom stuff. Now, there was a lot of different people and creators that gave us IRs, pedal captures, and pedal captures, amp captures, and all kinds of different things that people gave us for this release. I tried to use almost all of it in the presets. In 300 presets, I used a lot of Eddie's stuff. The Jaguar IRs, the Jaguar blends rather, fan-friggin-tastic. Love those. You guys go check it out. You guys be the judge. I use a lot of Dr. Bonkers stuff, which unfortunately you cannot use outside of this plugin. Every other IR we have in the pack, you can take out of the pack and use in your own loaders. You can use all your own stuff, whatever you like. However, the Dr. Bonker stuff is encrypted into the plugin. So sorry, but not sorry. I don't know. Yeah, I love the tone stack now. It took me a while to really get used to it and what I needed to do to it. Hell, for the bass presets, guys, holy shit. The bass presets, this thing came in swinging. This thing really helps your bass presets, if you're curious. The bass presets, man, were so much fun, and I'm actually going to do a whole thing on some of the new bass gear that we've got cracking around here. Now, I'm going to go to the Doom presets. Now, these are the kind of these are fun because we've got a lot of stuff from a lot of people, and between Fat Dracula and our own Metal Tune music, we got some serious ammo. We also got a hand-built, homemade clone version of the Hyperfuzz as made by our own in-house ninja Bocephus. Bo himself. Beauregard. I'm not joking about your name, buddy. Bo Brady. Anybody know where that's from? If you know where that's from, you probably spent a lot of time on your grandmother's couch in the summertime while not being at school. If you know what the name Bo Brady, John Black, perhaps. Anyways, he made this amazing pedal called he called it the Doom Tune. And this thing absolutely cooks. Check out these presets. They are bananas. These are the Doom tones that come for free, by the way. This is free. Wow. That's free. That's the first Doom preset, and I got that deep in it. Doom number 2, baby. Let's go. Holy monkey. Holy my, I'm gonna figure out a better way to do this though. Have we figured out a way so that we can not, did we talk about this in the group chat, a way to not have the global controls affected by the presets? Because that's super annoying. Super annoying. All right, number 3, we're gonna go to Doom number 3 and let's see where we're at here. Holy. This guitar is a lot of fun and it's capable. It's capable of doing a little bits of everything. It used to have a set of pickups that, gosh, that I love for Doom so much. I still have them. The Nuevo 90s, they're just gonna just chill for now, I guess. Or is that the set? I can't remember. In any event, this guitar needed... This guitar's way too cool to be just like pigeonholed into like one thing. So here we are. It's got a different set of pickups. Really don't like the neck pickup very much at all. Gonna get something different, but man, the bridge sounds tasty. Tasty. Wow, yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I don't like it. I don't like having to, yeah, I don't like it. Maybe being able to have an on or off for that, a link, so that you can either have them linked or not linked. That could be nice to have. Again, beefy. This sounds cracking. Absolutely cracking, some of these Doom tones. First time I've messed with a lot of these, to be honest. With the intention of doing anything but just test them. The cool thing is you can do whatever you want to all of these presets, just like any other preset. These are just meant to show you around, and boy do they show you around. I believe that what I've done with these presets kind of just goes about as far as I've taken this plugin to its max in a lot of different areas. So I think that with all these different presets, I think you guys are really gonna, if you can't find something, I mean, it can be a lot. Let's be honest. It can be a lot, and I know that some of us out there that are like really savvy with this stuff are like, come on, you can just make your own preset, man. It's just profiles, man. But if you don't know what gear is what or gonna make what sounds, I mean, let's be honest, presets help. No matter how simplistic the plugin, presets do help. And in this case, and these presets, I got to be honest, they cover a shitload of ground. I don't think that there's anything you're going to get stumped on. Now, when it comes to the lead stuff, as I mentioned, they don't cover everything. You got to add your own delay. You got to add your own verbs and stuff like that. But if you don't have a delay, I saw somebody say once that I don't have those. What do you mean you don't have those? If you have, come on. Even if you're into freeware, there are a great many free delays and free reverbs out there that you can use. Even if it just means downloading reverb IRs and using them in your IR loader, so be it. Whatever you got to do, you got to do. You know what I mean? So I'm going to be straight up with that. There's no excuse to not be able to work in a DAW. And if you're one of those folks that standalones, hey, no judgment here. We've got you covered. There is a standalone, and there will be a standalone for V2. Yep. But if you really want to maximize the usefulness of all your plugins, get a DAW. Use a DAW. It will not cost you that much. It costs you like what? Is it $60, $70 or something like that for the full version of Reaper for like a personal use license? Get it. Be done with everything else. Be done with it. It's got you covered. Get another DAW later in life maybe, but for now, start with Reaper. You can start for free with Reaper. Oh my gosh, Reaper, and start for free and go like that. It just makes sense. It doesn't make any sense not to. Now, I also want to put this out there. What are we doing for V2? Well, we're also expanding what we're offering. We're going to give you everything we've given you guys from various creators for V1, and now V2 is going to have even more of that, there's also going to be what we're hoping to be some artist presets as well. And we shall see. If you're a creator out there, I will put this out there loosely. If you're a creator out there and you have some good stuff, especially base gear, diesels, driftwoods, stuff like that. Pardon me. I say again, base gear, base gear, base gear, base gear. Wait, we even need the reverb for this. What I really need for you guys, or rather for the delay, is I need base gear. Base gear. I like it. All right, cut it right off there though. Hate that. All right, so that's what we need. We need base gear for this. I'd like to get some more base gear, base IRs, base stuff. That would be nice if we could do that. Base boost pedals, base fuzzes, whatever. Let's get it all in here, and let's get some more of it in here for the bass guys, because right now, I think even with 50%, I used everything I could. And I even used some guitar amps, to be honest, and some guitar amps in plug-in form, you would be shocked how good they sound for bass. I don't think I would advise trying it in real analog life, putting a Marshall JCM 800 on top of like an 8x10 Ampeg cab with absolutely no conversions whatsoever. I don't think I would want to do that. But what I'm saying is, in the plug-in universe, you can do that, no problem. And boy, I made some kind of ragtag some Frankenstein rigs here, and man, try your bass with this as well. 50 bass presets as well coming your way, as well as 250 guitar presets from clean, dirties, fuzz, doom, and metal of various types. I'm going to go now to the modern metal. I was probably thinking about doing that a bit later, but with this guitar, I want to see what we got. This is from, this is a Clarion lead. Now, I don't actually know about this amp. Does anybody else know about this amp, the Clarion? I don't know anything about this amp. I haven't even looked it up. I just got curious about it the other day. I've got 2 dime bag presets in there. See if you can find them, Eddie. You're not going to be able to find them because they're just mixed in with the numbers. However, that being said, for V2, I'm going to be also coming at you guys with, being that I'm going to have a lot more to work with, I'm going to be coming at you guys with some artist style presets, like mimicking this or that, hopefully. And I'm also going to be in touch with a number of other creators that we've been really looking to get in touch with. Finally heard back from Mark Swarbrick, which is great. His stuff is going to be going in there as well. Have yet to really pick through that, but I was going to tell the team as well that he agreed to throw some stuff in for the next one. So guys out there on the team, check through Mark Swarbrick's stuff and let's find out what we need to add there. I would have actually prepared for that, or have I? I'm not even gonna bother. I have my other folders there. Okay, so now we've got the Clarion lead. Now I can just, if I want to, I stick with this preset. This preset sounds good. I just need more juice, more gain. Hello. So I'm gonna turn up the juice. I noticed that there's a little bit of low end issue, a few low end issues there. I'm gonna turn up the toit. And I'm going to turn back the bass a little bit and see where we're at now. muscular. Let's go metal rhythm 2, which is actually pretty much exactly what I just did there, but change things up a little bit. Let's go to 5. Ah, so it's like a home built thing. This is using an Angle Ritchie Blackmore signature head, and on the lead high gain. And man, it's got some juice. And don't hear Ritchie Blackmore and think, well, that dude's like, you know, he's purple. It's probably not going to have a lot of gain in the amp. Disagree. If it's got the name Angle on it, I will tell you right now, there's gain under there somewhere. There's a switch you can push. You know, even if there's no switch you can push, you might be able to take it to a tech and be like, hey, is there a switch I can push? It'll put one in for you and it'll just have the gain there already. You just needed to add the switch. It's secretly under the hood of every Angle amp. There's actually a lot of gain. And so this one's no different. Bark is the, you know, for some of these I use two IRs. In this case, I just use one. A lot of cases I just use one. And leave the chance up to you guys to blend things if you'd like. This is the Bark IR from Devil's Lab, aka Lewin Albani, who was nice enough to do this UI, and who's going to be doing the new one as well. I've seen it; it's looking glorious so far. Yes, I've been using the Instigator quite some. Let's try it now. Now, the treble I like to wheel way back, as Eddie mentioned here. Bass, yeah, the bass is also well down. Mids, yep. Let's see what we got here, guys. You didn't know that, dude? That's awesome. I like the, like I said, the Instigator, or rather the tone stack, is terrific for the bass. I used it for almost all the bass presets, and I used it for a lot of the, some of the cleans, pretty much all the dirty tones and the vintage tones. I was really, really impressed with how this turned out entirely. This was... Man, this is group effort V2. We were gonna wait a bit on Gree 2 V2. We were gonna wait a bit for it, but now we decided, no, let's just give her now. Let's get it now, and let's do it right now, just before anybody. You know, we have the ideas now. We know how we would improve on this for a V2. So let's just do it right now. And as mentioned, there are going to be two. Now, gonna be honest, we've loosely toyed with the idea of having a meager, like a $4.99, $4 or $5 price tag, potentially, for V2, because it is going to involve so much more and a lot more work. We're debating on the idea of just a very meager fee for this one. Don't quote me on that. But with so much involved, you know, beyond just the NAM profile, the neural amp modelers, just gotta think about it. You know, like we want to make sure that it's done right. So it's either going to be free, or if there is any kind of price or cost to it, just want to be transparent. That there may be a cost of, it could be as much as $4.99, and that would be absolute max, I think, with an intro price of something ridiculous like, you know, an intro price of like $2, something like that, just to make sure it's all there. But then again, someone would still, even though it was just a $5 plugin, you know, those scumbags would still crack it. They'd still crack it and have it out there, and the scumbag and other scumbags would still give their computer aides just to download a now free $5 plugin. Don't give your computer aides just for a $5 plugin. You know what I mean? Anyways, guys, I'm having a great day today for the most part. Had a pretty solid weekend. As mentioned, if you are tuning in and you are curious as to where have I been, how come I have not been streaming as much, just it is what it is, guys. It's bandwidth. Having waking up one day and you just keep adding things and adding things and adding things until you wake up one morning and you feel like not enough butter, not enough peanut butter spread over a piece of bread. You know what I mean? You're barely covering the middle section. That's how I was starting to feel. So something needed to go, and it unfortunately had to be the streaming end of do here. Although the other end of things it's not stopped. We are kicking up a shelf and working with a couple developers on ideas right now. One smaller idea, and one, as mentioned, this larger idea here. So pretty excited of everything that we're doing these days, but I am going to be trying to put more time towards some streaming. Let's go to Modern Metal Rhythm, and let's see what we got here. So this one's like just a touch more bloated, if you will. And it's a bit less of that modern metal rhythm, really. You're going to have to kind of work with it. But I'm also using a different set of pickups I tested all of these presets with a number of different guitars, just not this one. You know what I mean? So, and that's the one thing we always have to remember when using presets, basically presets by anyone, anywhere. You have to remember that those people creating those presets did not make those presets for your ears, your monitors, etc. They made those presets with their ears, their monitors, their guitars, their pickups, their headphones, and so they're going to be a bit different to your ears than they were theirs, right? We always have to remember that. We always have to remember that. Also, not everybody creating presets is an expert either in the amp itself. Oftentimes you see like a big name and you're like, oh wow, there's that big name, artist presets. I'm going to use those presets. Sometimes, hate to say it, you might actually end up using presets that were made by, if it's a producer, it might have been made by his assistant. Sometimes a guitar, if it's got a guitar player's name on it, sometimes it actually could have been the roadie or the tech rather that made the presets. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, being full transparency here. This does happen, and I know it happens because I've seen it happen on both occasions. So, but you have to understand that presets aren't always as they seem. And they are very important, but do not live and die by the preset. With any piece of gear you buy, there are no presets really on a rectifier in reality. Just make it sound good to your ears. That might be not too far off the preset, but never be afraid. It's not as if you stray from the preset, just don't hit the save button. And you know what I mean? And if you do hit the save button, don't overwrite it, so that it's always going to be there for you. Don't be afraid to stray around. And also, when you try out presets, try to figure out which settings you're using inside that piece of gear that are making your ears and your feelings and your feelings as a guitar player. What is making you happy about this preset? You hear it, oh, okay, well, I got this preset. I don't really like the low end. The bass is a little muddy, but man, that top end is amazing. I'll figure out what is it in this plugin that is making that high end or that top end sound the way you want it to, so that you can apply that to potentially other presets. Or how do you get rid of that kind of that muddy low end? In this case, this plugin, you're going to use the tight knob, and you're going to crank up the tight knob till you get rid of some of the problems. Now, as with it is with any profiles or anything like that, remember, it's only going to be as good as the material being used. In the case of NAMM, you're going to run into some bad captures. It's inevitable. You'll get to know what is a bad capture and what is a good capture. The way you can do that first is by knowing the gear that's being captured, knowing how it sounds, how it's supposed to respond. I've seen a lot of people, they use a particular capture. Doesn't sound exactly like that amp should sound in their mind, so they just disregard it. Okay, well, is it you have to ask more questions. What cabinet's being used? What pedals, etc., and what settings? So there is a way to get the things all the different sounds that you really like, but you're going to have to kind of go through some stuff that you don't. And that's not a big deal because it's all free and who cares? This is Modern Metal Rhythm number 19. It's using an orange dual terror. $399 it is. I'm just kidding. I don't think that asking $499 for something that, I mean, V2 was originally just going to be a couple of editions. Then we got a little bit carried away and those editions became more. So I definitely want to, I wanted to throw it out there and see what people were thinking, how people were feeling on it. And I definitely don't want to see it as, oh, well, they gave us V1 and then they just wanted to get us hooked. And now they're just dangling this DLC like this. It should be free. It should be a free upgrade. Arr! What we could do is make it a free upgrade for, say, X amount of days. But with very, or make it, $2. For a X amount of days, maybe, but free for like an intro 2 weeks or for the first week free, not a bad idea. Then after that, then you go up to the $5 price, something along those lines. So then people you have to love people that like I don't want to cater to people that are just always wanting to complain about everything. You can't do that because once you do that, man, you're out of luck. Yeah. But I'm just saying that I think $499 is pretty fair. I had this conversation with some of the powers that be here yesterday. And I think that a very, very modest, in this case, his thing is going to be capable of a lot. Also want to be careful that in this case, most of the attraction here is the NAMM. It's the NAMM show. Okay, not like the actual NA North American Music Meet, but it's like this is NAMM. Like this is two versions of NAMM with some helpers and some stuff that, given to us by creators. However, V2 is going to involve so much above just the NAMM plugin that I think that we would be above that that threshold where people would be like, well, they're charging for open source. You got to be careful with that as well. What are you charging for? If all you're going to do is take, say 3 layered NAMM captures, layer them on top of each other for thickness, that can be done, obviously. And then put it in a little box. Gosh, I don't know. And then you can't really, I don't know if I would say you're going to be able to charge for something like that. But in this particular case, I think that there's enough under the hood that we would be able to do the $499 thing for it. USD, of course. But as I said, we're likely looking at maybe like the first week so that all of those people that are in the know, all those people that are salivating for it, can get it for free. That first, even free 48 hours to a week, whatever it is, they can get in there, they can get it. And then after that, it goes up to like 2. And then eventually after like a month, it goes up to 5 or something. Not a bad idea. Good chat here today. Welcome, by the way. My name is Tyler, and welcome to Amp Sim Show episode 39. Very excited to be here. 39 episodes of this thing, and arguably have not been streaming as much as I really wanted to be on here. But again, you have to pull time from somewhere. When you don't have anywhere to pull time from, at the end of the day, there's no one to cry about it to. You just got to shut her down and move along, and that is what we're going to do. All right, guys, I'm going to take my quick, and as usual, take my quick break. I will be back in about 3 minutes with a different guitar and a better outlook at life. God damn it. I'm just kidding. It'll be the same outlook. But I'll be back. Give me a couple minutes here. In the meantime, I want you guys to think about some of in the comments, in the chat here. I would like you guys, if possible, if you don't mind, to brainstorm some of the gear that you'd like to see captures for in V2. Okay? The V1 presets will not increase. The V2 presets will increase. The content for the toolkit for V1 and V2 will also, it'll just be one thing. It'll still grow. It won't be two separate things you'll have to load up and everything. We'll just be adding to it, just so we're all clear on that. All right, guys. So in the meantime, think about it in the comments. We've got lots of Marshalls in here. We've got lots of PV, as a bit of Mesa Boogie. Actually, a fair bit of variety, we'll say, of Mesas in here. What else could we be adding? Older gear, newer gear, you guys be the judge and let us know also. And what could you use presets for? If you're, in your opinion, what kind of genres and what kind of styles do you want to see presets for V2? Throw them at me. Guys, I'll be right back. Do you guys remember the time that Throwdown pretended to be Pantera? Do you guys remember this? I do. I remember the day this album came out, and a bunch of people I knew sent it to me, calling it Throw Terra or Pan Down. Like it wasn't even gradual. It was just like they went from being just your average bro hardcore band. It was just 100% meathead, beat down hardcore. But, you know, it wasn't bad by any means. I liked Throwdown the way they were. But I just thought it was really funny that all of a sudden they sounded like Pantera. I thought it was really amusing. Wasn't sure what they were going after with this. It wasn't bad, actually. This album is pretty good. But then they tried to distance themselves from this, like, saying that, like, oh, Pantera had no influence on what we were doing. Yeah, okay. 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 But it wasn't a bad album. If you're curious, Eddie, it's on the, I think it's on the album the album Holy Roller? No, it's Venom Tears. Let's listen to it. Let's listen to it. Yeah, this is definitely very Pantera, though. Let's listen to the album. It'll be in the background today, guys. So I've got Gilbert here, as you guys are well aware. I haven't heard for anything from Sit Strings. I don't expect to necessarily, because I am like a Z grade. I'm a Z grade artist. A Z grade. Not A grade, not B grade. I'm a Z grade artist. So I don't expect to hear back necessarily, but they've always been pretty good with that stuff. I'm curious. Hopefully you guys are having a great fucking day. My name is Tyler, and welcome to the Amp Sim Show. If it's your first time here, and who are we? What do we do here? Well, we're a team of very like-minded individuals with lots and lots of experience, connections, and all sorts of different things inside the Amp Sim industry and the Amp Sim universe itself. And when we describe the Amp Sim universe, we don't just talk about Amp Sims, we talk about guitars, pickups, all the different things that affect your tone with Amp Sims, also the things that you use along with Amp Sims from time to time, like drum software. We talk drum software here all the time. And I was just talking about a cover that I did, and I was going to play it. I did a cover of, I'm just going to wait till I have vocals on it. I did a few covers. I'm finally getting back to, that's the other thing. I had to decide, do I want to mix music and like make my own music at home again? Or do I want, where do I need to pull time from that? Of course, that also meant pulling time away from streaming, which sucks because I wish I had all the time in the world. Pardon me. I'm not a YouTuber by the way, for a living. I do have a full-time job that I go to work every morning. And so I just, we all have only as much time as we can operate with. I feel bad though, guys. I would love to be on here doing more. All right. So let's go old school metal for just a little bit. We're not going to be on here too much longer. The idea here was using stuff that's a little bit thrashier. The idea was a little more scooped throughout. I don't even know where my dime bag preset is inside old school metal. There are two, using a couple of IRs that Eddie has provided, as well as the amps that Eddie provided. And I don't believe I used a pedal. No, I did. I used a Boss. I used the Boss Super Overdrive. Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Freyskin. I appreciate you. I do appreciate it a lot. Oh my gosh. Did you hear that riff? Oh my gosh. Oh my god, it's like Walk. It's like Walk. I forgot about this song. Oh yeah! Oh, wow. Oh, gosh. I don't play Pantera riffs on purpose. I don't because I don't like offending. I don't want to offend Eddie. There used to be this guy called Pantera Man. I get into storytelling a lot around here, guys, and if it bothers you, well, I mean, there's a lot of other YouTubers out there. But there used to be this guy. I actually, to this day, I don't know his name. I don't know his fucking name. What's his band called again? Oh, it's gonna take some. Okay, in another life, I was a concert promoter for a better part of 14 years. Something like that. I started when I was about 16, and then it just kind of snowballed. I'm just trying to think of exactly how long it was. It was about 13 and a half, 14 years when I quit. And guys, met a lot of bands in that amount of time. And we met this one local band. Local bands are the best. They were the best. You met a lot. I met a lot of really good friends that I had to this day in the local band scene. And as even when the young bands, and I was an older musician, a lot of my friends would just come hang out at shows, and we'd watch the local talents, and we would shit talk, not shit talk, but shit talk just the way that encouragingly shit talk, unless it was really bad. And now, anyways, there's this guy. He is a very gifted young man, short, kind of pudgier little guy. Always wore his hat like dime, and he talked like he had created his own dialogue from watching, like it was like he's from another country, and to learn English, he did it with only the Pantera home videos to learn English. This guy's whole, like, you'd talk to him and be like, and I didn't know his name. He'd show up at our house parties from time to time, along with shit. I honestly can't even remember the names of the guys in his band. He was in a band called, the guys in his band went, just son of a bitch. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of work and ask one of the old crew if they actually remember this guy's name. Anyways, he would show up, and you'd try to talk to him, and he'd be like, hey, you'd be drunk, be like, hey man, how's your night going? Yeah, how you doing? And he'd be like, yeah man, whoa shit, little feet, whoa yeah. And you'd be like, what the fuck did that guy just say? Have a good night, buddy. And it's like, we called him Pantera Man. Even though we were ourselves huge Pantera fans, this guy was like, wow, so we finally saw his band. We're thinking this guy must be like, he's probably not going to be that good. He was really good. Played all the solos, almost note for note, except he was playing about 10 BPM faster than the band. So every time he'd play a solo in a Pantera cover, he'd get to the end of the solo and wouldn't know what to do for like a bar or a half bar because he had played the solo too fast. And then he would just kind of garble something at the end and do a woo, woo, woo. But anyways, long story long. Just reminded me of that. Love that guy, though. I don't know, wherever you are, somewhere, Pantera Man. This sounds great. Yeah, no Pantera. This record, holy cow, Venom and Tears. This was the only one of its kind, too. They didn't continue with this style. But if you went to all of these hardcore bands, okay, around this time, actually, it was a little earlier than this. All of those bands that were playing like the New England Metal and Hardcore Festival, all of those hardcore only bands, they started to do some weird stuff. And by the way, my phone is probably going to die at some point in the next little bit. They always, all of those bands, like Bleeding Through and in this case, Throwdown, a lot of those bands, those hardcore bands, they went on and did like one extra metally, we'll call it metallic, extra metallic album to kind of see if they could break through there. I mean, there's always been that crossover between hardcore and metal fans. Some metal guys do not like hardcore at all. They want to hear none of that. And then there are also guys in the hardcore scene that want nothing to do with anything that's death metal whatsoever. But for the most part, we can coexist at like festivals and stuff. Whereas I think bands, they started to do a couple of, you know, you look at Earth Crisis when they did, whoa, let's not talk about that album. Slither was the album. If you're an Earth Crisis fan from way back, you'll know exactly what I'm fucking talking about, because they did a new metal album. And people really didn't like that at all. Their fans hated it a lot. And I remember that as well. So there's a lot of evidence to suggest Hatebreed never did it. They always treaded that line where they were always just metal enough, but it had little extra metal-y parts. I always loved Hatebreed because they treaded that line. Biohazard, another band that kind of treaded the line between also metal, and they got into rap metal for a bit too there for a little while. So interesting that there's a lot of things that were crossing over. And obviously in the Boston area at that time, you'd be dumb not to, to mention the metalcore thing that happened, where a lot. This was more than that though. This wasn't just like this part right here. This is so Pantera. I'd forgotten this album existed. Listen to this part. Pick up your change! See the dudes doing the fucking helicopters? Look at me, everybody! Mom! Look at me go! That's fucking good though, right? It's good. It's not bad, but I'm not talking them. This wasn't what I consider metalcore. I consider metalcore like a lot of the hardcore bands at the time just added little bits of In Flames and the Swedish stuff, the melodic metal, whereas these guys took a little bit of a different. They're like, fuck that stuff. We're not going to get more melodic. We're going to get more metal. And that's just cool. We're allowed to have this talk because we're allowed. This is a part of the metal. The part of the AmpSim universe is just talking about music in general. I'm not sure what they were using for tone at that time. When I saw them, when I actually booked a show for them, and As They Lay Dying, they were using rented gear. So I really don't know what of that gear was theirs and what wasn't. There were rectifiers that were present. I'm not really sure. Hatebreed was always one of my favorite fucking bands to watch live. Well, those guys, they're as meatball hardcore as it comes, and I love them for it. It's just so, and all of their lyrics, we discussed this before, all of their lyrics are so motivational. They're just like, stop letting life push you around. You need to punch it in the face and drink a Red Bull. You just gotta kind of keep going. Jamie's like I said though, Jamie Josta has to realize that he is singing to some dudes that are at this point over 50. He's talking about, like I said, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again because it really is a lot of fun. But when you're telling me, Jamie, I'm 46 years old and you're asking me to tear it down now, it's just, you have to give me more of a scheduled availability to tear it down. All of his stuff is just like, get up now and pick up your life. Like, my life is pretty reasonable right now, and it's I could kick it around a bit, I guess. Should I be kicking things around? Should I be punching life in the face? That's what I love about meatball hardcore. Is it's like, yeah, it's angry, but the lyrics are for the most part very positive. A lot of the beatdown hardcore, it's all about like family and community and like sticking up for your friends is pretty great. It's pretty awesome. Like that's one of the things I always liked about hardcore. Yeah, dude. Okay, I'm telling you right now. I know that we're on a bit of a tangent here, but I'm telling you right now, you definitely pulled the cork out of the dam on this one by bringing up the glam metal Pantera days. There are a lot of Pantera fans that, not just the glam metal days. It's not just the glam metal days that Pantera fans and the band ignore. They have like 7 albums. So like, it's not just, there wasn't just power metal where hairspray and the makeup and the leather. That was less about hair metal and being more like Judas Priest. And I still liked that album. Yeah, it wasn't until they heard Exorder that they really just completely appropriated their sound, completely 100% just took that sound from Exorder and made it more Southern rock. So they loved Southern rock. They took what they were doing in the band that they were in, Pantera at the time, and they took everything they were doing and they just merged it. They didn't just, a lot of people say that Pantera completely took over Exorder's like fan base and their whole sound and started doing everything identical. No, maybe like it was like maybe 60%. They took like 60%, maybe 50% from the Exorder sound, and then they added Southern rock. They added a bunch of stuff that Exorder really wasn't adding quite as much of in their sound. So yes, it was a huge influence, and most Pantera fans don't know who Exorder is, and that's okay. That's all right. But the fact that a lot of, let's be honest, the majority of Pantera fans don't know that they have like 6 or 7 albums without Phil. How many is it actually? How many of there actually were? And like Phil Anselmo, when he joined the band, was he was also a very sought after vocalist in the scene. So they had to change their sound in that moment, become a little bit less Southern rock metal. They were doing this like something similar to what they're doing, but it was a lot less heavy. Phil Anselmo wanted to do Painkiller style Judas Priest. He wanted to do it now. He wanted to do like very like, not just Painkiller, because I don't know if Painkiller was out at that exact moment, but he wanted to do that Judas Priest heavier. They were getting heavier. He wanted to do that. He was very sought after in that scene, and not just in the scene, but pretty much across America. There's a lot of bands that were wanting him to come audition because he's fantastic live. And then he ended up, the dude acts like he's been like since like he was like since 5 years old, but like we all know that like he progressed. That's okay as well. But this is a long conversation about nothing, but that's okay. It's what we do here. So this is this is Old School Metal 4. I have to keep reminding myself that I'm not listening to Pantera or Damage Plan right now. My goodness gracious. This dude went from using, if I'm not mistaken, he went from using nothing but hardtails. Nothing but hardtails. And then they're like, all of a sudden, someone in the band or 2 guys in the band are like, listen, we're going to do this Pantera thing. You got to buy a guitar with Floyd Rose, man, and you got to learn how to use it like yesterday. Can you imagine being that guy and being like, no, nope, I'm going to do that. And oh, imagine like someone just inserted the Floyd Rose uncomfortably into your life when you never wanted one. I'd be like, why? What did I do to deserve this? Man, I would not. I just want nothing to do with Floyd Rose on any guitar unless it's blocked. Blocked, not just blocked, but like blocked in a way that it's not going to fall apart into like 9 pieces when I take the strings off. And that has happened so many times when I used to just to service some friends' guitars. I would even forget that I blocked it and put a bunch of random shit in there to block it. And then don't do that. In any event, I'm going to get going here, guys. It is now about 6 o'clock. You know what? No, I'm not going to get out of here just yet. Am I? I've just forgotten that I've got some more time than I think. I mean, more time than I thought. So let's keep going for a few more minutes here. Two or three? I don't know about 2 or 3, dude. I don't think there are 2 or 3 without Phil. Let's go and look. I'm gonna go over here, wait for this to load. I'm just gonna go to the infamous all face screen for a minute as I look this up, because you guys don't need to see this. I'm gonna look this up and then come back with the results. Hold on. Actually, you know what? You guys can probably just figure it out before I can. Just somebody Google it. I don't want to go to my archive. I've got all of the albums on MP3. I remember not knowing that there is at least 5. has to be there are at least 5 albums without Phil. Oh yeah, dude. Thanks for reminding me about that. That's the other thing we can do today. We're going to show off the 9 gates. Thanks so much for that, buddy. I just completely blanked on that. So the 9 gates preamp, we're going to make a rig out of it with the TPA1 from Ignite Amps and the Nadir. Nadir here, Nadir. I'm going to flip this all the way over here, and we're going to go over to my EGA 414 hype reel mix. And what is this? Go away. All right. Seems like, oh, there's even a song called No Love. Well, does it go, there's no love, no love. Does it do that? I don't know. So I don't have a lot of time on this piece of gear, but we're going to kind of set it up reasonably. I'm going to set this up how I normally set this up, and start with it on KT88s instead of the 6L6s. We're going to use this here in 9/8, so we're going to see what it gives us. Sounds great. Get some more edge to it. I don't like the drive all the way down. I'll bring it back to about 7. That's where I like it the best so far. Got a nice modern edge to the mids there. Oh, that sounded kind of a bad off note there. What are you going to do? 3 albums, that's it, eh? Really? Just 3? Gosh. Why do I have more than that then? Dun, 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 dun. Oh boy, forget how I did that. Stank face. So I boosted it. I boosted the boost and with the boost in it and turned up the boost and the boost. Where do I get that from? So the edge gets a bit ice picky when you get up there. A little bit, it starts to get, I don't know, I think you're going to want it all the way up there. But I mean, that's up to you. Remember, we have different pickups in our guitars as well. That's about where I'm going to max out with that. I'm going to turn the boost down a bit and then engage my own boosty McBoost. Okay, I know I need the new version. Woo! That sounds mighty good. It does. It does. What have you guys been watching? What have you guys been watching for your horror movie of October? Tell me. I'm curious as to what you guys are watching. I am really curious because I myself watched a bunch. We like watching horror movies all year round. We really do. We watch scary movies quite often. And but in October we often watch more than usual, like a lot of other people. And it's a perfect season to do that. Let me know in the comments. What have you guys been doing? What have you guys been watching? We watched one the other day that I can can't remember the name of it. We picked it off Tubi, and seemed like it should have been a more popular movie than it actually was. It was quite good. And there was a movie called Thanksgiving. It's like somebody finally made a horror movie about Thanksgiving, and it's pretty good. It's pretty decent. The death scenes are pretty remarkable. I will say that some of the death scenes are pretty. Call them substantial death scenes. This sounds like it's going to be good for lead guitar. Woo! See, bad note there. One bad note just kills it. Gotta get the sweeps back. The sweeps, and the sweeps. This is sounding pretty good, though. So this is the 9 gates from Nembrini Audio, and I like it. No idea what it's based on. I don't think it's based on anything, actually. Although, something I'm looking at and something I'm feeling on this one actually feels a little bit like the Eris Savage Drive. A little bit like it. It's just something about it kind of feels a little like the Eris Savage Drive. I don't know. Tell me I'm wrong. As for what it's based, you don't need to use the IR loader, by the way. You can just use it straight up. Or sorry, you do have to use the loader. You don't have to use the power amp sim though. Oh shoot, that was loud. Sorry guys. Oh my gosh. See ya. I do, however, like it with the TPA involved there because it just makes me feel better. And it's a terrific plugin. If you're not familiar, this is free. It's the Ignite Amps TA1 tube power amplifier. This was actually the power behind a lot of the Ignite Amps stuff, and even like the Emissary, for example. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Emissary is nothing but the ProFet preamp along with the TPA1, and obviously thrown all together with a nice nice amp head and everything else. But as far as the groundwork and everything goes, as far as I know, that is all the Emissary is the ProFet along with the TPA1. So it gives you an idea that this has been used by a lot of people for a very long time. This is a damn good plugin. I really, really like this plugin. I've used it a whole bunch of different times over, gosh, it's got to be like a decade old now, more than a decade old, and it still holds up. It still powers that whatever you want it to power. The 9 gates here sounds terrific. And as mentioned before, leads, gosh, I mean, you hear the cut. And that's on my neck pickup. It sounds that better. All right, that sounds pretty good. Go and check out your free unrestricted trial from Nembrini Audio right now. They've got a brand new, it's rad, I mean, so many companies switching off of iLok now. It's great to see Nembrini Audio also switching off of iLok. They're another company that's switching away from it. But when companies switch away from it, oh gosh, is it a little bit ugly for the customer, because you have to go and re-license everything from that particular developer. And if you've purchased a lot, doing so can be a bit of a daunting task. Don't worry, it'll just take one go through. I've had to do it now. If you've been around plugins long enough, you've had to do it with a few developers at this point. It's not going to be ended anytime soon. iLok has been beaten by the Russian scumbags. I'm not going to call them just Russians, but a lot of the hackers that are hacking and putting together those plugin sites, they've proven that, I mean, I'm not going to say anything what they've proven, but the going thought is that many of them operate out of Eastern Europe. Is that fair to say? I don't know. Did I just offend somebody? I don't know if I did. In any event, yeah. Anyways, because the scumbags got to iLog, you're going to be looking at a lot of companies over. Nembrini Audio, he held off quite some time. I think you're going to see companies just start to switch out. And it's good, like I said, it's a bit of a time if you have 5 plus, maybe 10 plus plugins from that developer. In this case, I had 25 plus plugins from 30 plus plugins from this developer. So when he pulled the plug and I got that email, I was like, oh my God, this is going to take such a long time. Oh, why? Yeah, it takes you a bit, but luckily he's also gone to one of those systems where you can kind of just go download. You don't have to download all the bunch of different, all the different things anymore. He's got it all programmed in. So now it's just download, install. So at least they've shaved off a lot of time. It's much more convenient. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys for even being around. Listening to me, watching me, going over some of these plugins and such. It's always a good time, and I'm gonna try to be back here more because it really feels great to just kind of chit chat with you guys and go over some rad stuff that we all get to benefit from, all the hard work from all these coders and all these companies trying to outdo each other. Yes, excellent. Till next time, everybody. Thank you for being here, and I can't wait for more. Cheers.